Hi everybody, welcome to week 1 of college algebra. This week we will be going through the prerequisites section of the textbook. And so this is prerequisites and review. So it depends on where you're coming into the class, whether these are going to be review or not. Make sure that this actually moves. Okay, so chapter 3 is called prerequisites and review. So we are going through the first 5 sections. So review of real numbers and their properties, exponents and radicals, polynomials and special products, factoring polynomials, and rational expressions. If you are coming to this class from MA104, then most of this will be familiar because everything except for radicals and rational expressions were covered in that previous course. So these will be covered in deeper depth, so you may still learn some things that you did not know before, but you will have seen these things at least before if you are coming from there. The things you're learning this week, you're going to need going forward. So it's really important to take the time this week to focus on these, but you will be practicing these same skills every week going forward. So if you do need additional links, if you feel like reading from the textbook's not your thing, you need more videos or maybe some practice problems, I did pick out Khan Academy links for each section of the textbook that can help you learn the material. So these would be great if you have not done algebra before or it's been a long time. You may prefer to do these links instead of the textbook to learn the materials because this may be a little more effective for you. So, these are, you can download this PowerPoint. So you're going to be able to download the PowerPoint and then you can click on these links. You don't have to pause the video and try to write all these down. So I recommend downloading the PowerPoint that is in the classroom so that you can just click. So your tasks for week 1, you have 3 tasks. You have your week 1 discussion, a week 1 ungraded practice assignment, and then the week 1 assignment. So I'm going to talk about each of these in order. So let's start with your discussion. So your discussion is made up of 2 parts. So the first part is the introduction to the class. I want to make sure that you talk about your background when it comes to algebra and math so that I know where you stand, whether you're coming in with prior knowledge or whether it's been a really long time because then you might need some extra help. And also set some goals for yourself in this class. Your goals don't have to be grade related, but do you have a goal that you're going to turn in everything on time, or you really want to learn more about this topic? So set some goals and talk about what those goals are, because that will help you be motivated going forward. The second part of the discussion is that you need to list 5 study strategies. 5. If you don't list 5, you will lose points, so you need to have a minimum of 5. But 5 study strategies to help you succeed in this class. I recommend going to the supplemental instruction, supplemental materials resource because I do have a folder for study strategies and time management strategies. And so there are links in both of those folders that you may find some good suggestions for you so that you can come up with 5 strategies. The strategies need to be actionable, so things that you can actively do, like you're going to study an hour each night or something, or you're going to make sure you're in a quiet environment when you're studying. You're going to make sure you tell yourself that you can do this, positive affirmations. These are actions that you can take. So that's what's considered a study strategy. Your discussions, there is a 75-word minimum. Your main post is due by Sunday night. There is a minimum of 2 reply posts that are required to your classmates, although you are welcome to take as many as you want, and those have to be done by Tuesday. And your replies need to be substantive, so that means that they are meaningful, they add to the discussion. So these are usually several sentences long, they advance the discussion, keep it moving forward. You could be asking questions. If you ask a really good question that then gets more feedback and continues the discussion, that's considered substantive. Maybe you disagree with someone or you have suggestions for them, so that you can do that. As long as you're professional, that is substantive. If people ask you questions, you need to respond to those questions to keep the discussion going. If you don't, then you've just kind of killed the discussion. So this is what the grading rubric looks like for discussions. So for your initial post, there are 2 things we're looking for: whether it's well developed And so an exemplary post is student provides a well-developed post that fully addresses all aspects of the task. So that is basically, did you answer everything in the prompt that you were supposed to address? If you do not address everything that the prompt tells you to, you will not get full credit there. And then student demonstrates knowledge or insight into the discussion. So for full credit, student provides an accurate and thoughtful contribution to the discussion, demonstrates knowledge or insight in the discussion. So that's basically, did you say things that are correct, accurate? So it doesn't matter so much for this first discussion, but for later discussions when you have math-based ones, this is where you could lose points if you have things that are not really correct, because your discussions are going to be based off of did you do everything and is what you have correct. Then we've got your follow-up posts. So student advances the conversation through comments and additional questions. So for full points, student analyzes the initial post of peers, provides additional data or information that advances the discussion of the weekly content or topic in a meaningful direction. So you can read these to kind of help you judge whether you have substantive posts or not. And then the last thing is overview of written expression, so grammar, spelling, punctuation, citations if needed. So that is 5 points, part of your grade. If you are doing a research post and you have no references, that's where you will lose points. Because this is written and it's not just off the cuff, you can plan what you're writing before you type it. That's why we do want you to use grammar, punctuation, that sort of thing. So if you're not doing that, if it's really hard to follow, that's where you will lose points. So moving on to your assignments, you have an ungraded practice assignment. So this is not turned in. Because it's ungraded, it doesn't matter for a grade. This is just something to do on your own. And these are practice problems that are to help you practice the material and assess whether you understand what's going on or not. You can check, because all of these, the end of chapter review exercises, all of the odds are in the textbook, so you can check your answers. In the ebook, there's just a drop down to give you the answer, and then you can see whether it matches. CalcView has videos on how to do some of these problems, so if you got one wrong, and it has one that's on CalcView, you can watch the video. And each of these has worked out solutions on CalcChat, so you can look to see what the correct solution is so you can find your error. CalcView and CalcChat and the textbook, all that I talked about in the course introduction video. So go take a look at that video if you have not already to find out how to access those resources. What you're actually turning in for the week is the week 1 graded assignment. And so these are 10 problems from the reading this week. If there are different parts, each part is considered a problem. You want to make sure that you are showing all work so that you can get feedback on what your errors are. If you have the answer wrong and there's no work, we don't know where you went wrong. These are graded right or wrong, so there's no partial credit, and that's mainly because this is a small portion of your grade. It's just like a check to see whether you're in the right direction or not and whether you understand what's going on. So they are right or wrong, there's no partial credit, but you can resubmit for more points. So if you made a small mistake and you really want to get those extra points back, you can resubmit. There's a 5% penalty, which is small compared to what you can gain from resubmitting. And then the next week, there will be a quiz on these topics. So our quizzes, there's no quiz this week, but the following quizzes, each one is based off of the previous material, and that's so that you can see your feedback on your assignment and see what you did wrong and make corrections before you take the quiz, because we don't want to quiz you on the stuff you just learned because it hasn't had time to sink in yet. So when you are turning in the graded assignment, the worked out problems, make sure that all of your problems are numbered, they're labeled, they're in order, because that makes it a lot easier to grade. Make sure that you box or highlight your final answer so that it's a lot easier to find. You can submit Word documents. If you're going to type up your math, use the template that's provided. That will help you keep everything organized. Otherwise, if you're going to do it on paper, you can submit photos. You want to make sure, though, that they're legible. There's no shadows, so we can read it clearly. It's not blurry. You need to submit a single file, so If you have multiple photos, you can put these into a Word document, submit a Word document, or I have some options there that convert photos to PDFs, and so you can submit a PDF. And make sure they're all in order so that we don't have to jump around trying to figure out where your pictures are, which problem is in what order. And then if you have access to a scanner, you can scan your documents and make sure, again, that everything is readable, everything is in order. If your assignment doesn't follow these submission types, or if we can't read it, it will be returned back to you. You will get a score. I believe it's a score of what did I say? 5. So if you get a score of a 5 or a 2, something that's like a really low score but not a 0 or 1, that's just an indication like, hey, you need to resubmit because maybe we couldn't read the file or it was too hard to grade or something like that. So let's just take a look at my suggested schedule for the week to help you navigate all of these items and getting them in. So I try to space things out so that you do a section a day, and then you take notes on that section, you watch videos on that section, you do practice problems on that section. Because to really learn math, you have to work a section at a time and make sure you understand the section, or at least have some understanding of the section if it's not 100%, before you move on to the next. So I recommend going in order here, doing P.1, doing everything with P.1, and then moving on to the next section. So don't try to read everything at once because it just will not make sense. So I have mapped out some practice problems to help you figure out what to practice for each section. And then I've also mapped out which problems on the assignment go with each section. So if you're working on the assignment, you can do a little bit of the assignment at a time. Like you can do problem 1 after P.1. Then you can do parts of problem 2 after P.2. So you can do a little bit at a time. And that will kind of help you manage your time and not try to do the assignment all at once. You can do a little bit while it's fresh in your head. So that's it for everything you need to know for week 1. If there's anything that I've forgotten that you have questions about, please feel free to email me or give me a call. And if you have any questions, you can also chat me on Google Hangouts. So I hope that this has been helpful for you. I'm looking forward to working with you guys this week, and I hope you're having a great day. Bye.